Okay, we're getting to work. Welcome in traders, much love, fam. Trav here. Gonna be a very productive work session today. We're gonna go through a lot of things. It's gonna be long. We're gonna go current charts, drawdown strategy. I'm gonna go through my setups, platform, and then I'm gonna go through, review every loss in the past 30 days, and then back testing. It is 9. I'm gonna try to do that over the next 2 to 2.5 hours and record all of it. I'm going to take a couple breaks here and there, so the whole video won't be quite that long, but we're going to do all these things. So let's look at the current charts. Um, now, I mentioned I'm first. Actually, let's talk about drawdown before we get to the current charts. Yeah, I'm just the last 30 months something has gone horribly wrong. I'm negative $30,000, zero winners, 10 losses. Something's horribly wrong. So, however, as bad as that is, I'm still up $30,000 in the past 5 months. My equity curve is still pulling down to a higher low. That says I need to do something. And what I'm doing first, as I grew my accounts, and by the way, I would have loved for you guys to see me and just making money all the time. I think this is the reality of trading, especially as you're a newer trader, that you're going to have months like these. And it is what it is. But I'm going to show you guys how to manage a drawdown and get out of it because I've had drawdowns like these and I've gotten out of these drawdowns before. So as I was having a bigger month, I started to risk 2%. As I started to have a couple losses, I went from 2% to 1.5%. As I had some losses, I went from 1.5 to 1%, went to 0.5%, and then now I'm on paper trading assignment. Like, Trav, something's horribly wrong. You can't lose any more money right now. You're fucking up. You have to go to paper trading and you have to make 5R, and then you can come back. And you have to take this time to review everything and to backtest and to study and to add more things. So I'll show you where we are. Yesterday, yeah, this was the final straw for me to have to go back to paper trading. Was for both Bitcoin and ETH, I identified an inside ladder long, and I fucked it up. And after fucking it up, I'm like, I'm going to paper trading. I can't do this. So an inside ladder is we forming a new range. We take the liquidity on an edge of the range, and then we reverse violently. And then we can expect that that new lower high will stay intact, and we will create a new equal lower high, and we can enter. So what probably was supposed to, like, my stop needs to be just inside here, and my entry should be like this or maybe like this. And then I can aim for an inside here, or I can aim for outside liquidity, something like this. This is how it should go. But what I did instead is something like this. And what ended up happening is, where is it? Right there, I get stopped out on what is a winning idea. And I exited out of my Bitcoin, which would also now be in profit. I'm just like, I'm fucking this up too badly. I need to go do something else. Now, where would it be? It would be something like that. However, if we go back to how I should have set it up, something like this, to where we are now, I can now have my stop at break even and we're running above an R. Now, similarly with the Bitcoin one went even better. The Bitcoin one, I closed out around break even. Again, this is what I call an inside ladder. This is the liquidity is taken and then created. So it's going to sweep all these lows. This high should stay intact because of this violent move against, and it should create the first inside rung of the ladder should be created here. And I made the same sort of mistake where I identified the setup, but I did it wrong. My entry wasn't very good. I should have done something like this. There's two gaps. I should enter near the lower and aim. Again, I can aim right here for a 3 to 4 hour, or I can aim for outside liquidity. This is how it should have gone. And I just get filled for a moment on this wick. And then a couple retests. Price moving in my favor. Would now be running at about, what would it be running at about almost 2 hours. So I'm just fucking stuff up too much. I believe I will get there back. So my drawdown plan is risking 1%. I need to grow 5R on my paper trading account. It's like, when you are in a slump, a professional athlete, you get sent down to AAA or you get sent down to the G League or whatever it is. It's necessary for me. Um, and it is what it is. Once I get the 5R and I come back, I'm going to be risking 0.5% on all setups. And once I'm up probably about 10R, then I'll go back to risking 1%. Once I'm up 10R on that, I'll go back to risking 2%. So this whole month has set me back probably months, when I could have been up years if I had traded it better, but it is what it is. I didn't blow up. And the last time I had this equity, I'm much farther along now because of my experience and my setups. So next we're going to look at, we talked about drawdown. We're going to look closer at the current charts. After we look closer at the current charts, I'm going to review all of my setups. Then we're going to review every single loss I had, and then we're going to get into back testing. Okay. Okay. So first, let's go with the daily. My daily exhaustion system called for a long here. What are these dots? Something weird is going on with this indicator. What are these dots? What? Okay. Daily exhaustion system is inviting me to take a long here, which can stay for another 24 hours. I believe that. There's an inside ladder right here. Um, this was a run into gap. I probably want to reevaluate this, but I think like continuing to short in this region and long in this region is probably okay. And then I don't see, I'm interested in more rungs being added to this ladder to maybe create a breakout on one side or the other. So that is Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the liquidity situation over here. And definitely there's more heat at the highs, 21,750. So that makes this inside short not as good, but I think I will still take it. Still looks valid to me. Just because it is hot here doesn't mean it's taken the first time. Especially maybe if we go into a lower time frame. We should have 24 hours and not just 12 hours. 21, where's this one? 21.5, 21.3. Yeah, there's a hot spot up. We'll see. To me, it's valid it might not be valid in HY block, but it's valid on here. So I'm just going to trade that. If we look at the higher time frame is still pointing towards, it's becoming more ambiguous. It's pointing towards higher. but there is a possibility we come back for these lows at 15, but I think we have to look at where we're closer to, which is this 23, 24, 25 region. We're closer to that, and especially the 23 is a little bit hotter, but over this high, I'm not sure there's fuel to get over 26, but that is that's the bullish target at least, sort of locally. Lower time frames suggest going lower, but this is why we look at higher time frames too. Okay, now let's go look at the ETH chart. So the ETH chart is slightly different. Um, so there was the inside ladder. Now, the ETH chart I'm doing a little bit different. So I'm using my daily exhaustion long, which has another 24 hours in this zone, and then it might make sense to pull it. Um, what's different about ETH is ETH is not taking these highs, so there's more incentive to push the price up here locally, which means I'm less interested in the inside ladder short. And also because we did not take this initial wick high, I'm more interested in a breakout long. So I'm going to take a breakout long like this from, if we get back into the highs, there's a possibility that we will take these highs and come up in here. So I'm going to try that one. And then, yeah, now that we created a rung, I'm not interested in another inside ladder. If we're ranging, like the first inside rung is tradable, the second inside rung is also tradable. So, technically we could try again beyond that, but I don't, it's not as good. Um, yeah. So I do the idea for the short up here is a run of this daily fair value gap and a poke of this gap. I'm taking this liquidity and cooling off for a bit. It might work. And considering that I have this short for the breakout, it might make sense to actually aim up here and aim higher. So yeah, let's make that adjustment to my paper trading. How do we do this? Paper trading. Um, this was the sell. Buy stop. Yeah, aim up here. Okay, now I'm satisfied. Okay, let's turn off paper trading now. So I'm at 99,000. I need to get to 104,000 to go back to live trading. And ideally, I do it with a breakout trade as well. And it could happen in a week, but yeah, I just need to get my shit together, and this is part of the process of what it is. Um, we have such an insane ladder here that if we start to break down, it wouldn't be hard to see us take new lows, honestly. Like, I expect higher, but look at all this rung of ladders if we start to break down. So, uh, maybe for my shorts, I'll extend the targets. But there's always ways to get into trades later, whether it's a breakdown or breakout or what. So, yeah, there's also like a breakdown short that could happen that I'm gonna keep my eye on as we kind of move like this. So I think I'm satisfied with the current charts. of trades I'm interested in locally, and I would like to now go to the part where I review every losing trade for the last 30 days. So let's do that. So we're going to start in mid-December on the 22nd. Then we're going to go, look, I've lost 14 trades and basically had no winners. I had a couple what I would call break evens, considering I was risking how much I was risking. These ones were a big risk. Okay, so let's start with, it looks like I had a short market 1A on December 22 of ETH. So it's like ETH, December 22, let's go back. I had a short, what happened? Loss, was it a full loss? No, this was a partial loss. Okay, I remember this one. This one actually would have turned into a win, so that's interesting. So I'm not doing this anymore, but what happened was we have the swing failure here, and I market ordered short. This is the 22nd. No, actually yeah, I think I market ordered short with a stop inside. I took an inside ladder, and I'm aiming, I don't know, down here, something like this. Not a great trade. And as price just goes against me, I decided to just pull the plug, which is dumb because this trade works. I need to let my stop run. So I can mark an error here, um, where one, I probably shouldn't have taken it, but my stop never got hit. My idea of this my inside ladder thing works. And it later does run to a winning trade of some sort. That said, like it wasn't a great winner and it required sitting in this thing for super long. So let's go back and look, and I'm gonna log an error here. The problem with this is one, like market ordering, two, I didn't catch this. Where can I go to the 1 minute? Okay, so here's probably what I should have done. Inside ladder limit order, I can use the 1 minute fair value gap here. And that would have allowed me to get a much better entry for like a 2 or 3 to 1, which would have made it more worth it. So I still would have been underwater at points, but yeah. So let's go back and look at this. This is mislabeled, market 1A. This is an inside ladder. Okay, so I'm gonna tag the error. Bad entry, early exit. Error cost negative 2.5. So I should have, okay, trade was valid and would have been a winner. If I had held it, trade would have um, should have entered on 1 minute FVG for better RR. Okay, that one is done. Now the 27th, I had 3 losses at Bitcoin, and ETH. Okay, so I had a run into gap, and then I had two swing failures. The market ones, it looks like I might have, all of these ones I closed early. So let's go take a look. On the 27th. Okay. 27th, let's scoot ahead here. Yeah, my inside retracement would have been great, but I'm right here. Yeah, I just need to, I need to work. Like, was fucking up too much. Yeah, both of them would have worked great. Okay, now the 27th. These were longs, attempted longs on the 27th. Okay, so I'm not sure, but I think I tried something like this. Let's see. And then I cut it early. So I think that's a fine trade. I don't think there's anything really wrong with that. Although in retrospect, I think this is important for me to study now is like this is a good, probably was a good breakout short actually. So I don't know that I love being on the other side of this where like this, yeah, this looks like a pretty good possible breakdown short. So I'm just gonna take a note of that. Most of my losses were on the wrong side of a breakout or breakdown. Yeah. Okay. Now, I also had on the 27th two other losses of what were market swing failures. So I believe I was short here. I closed it early, not liking it. I don't know if the dates are correct here. Okay. The 27th, I'm pretty sure my entry was something like this. Okay, so we're on the 27th. I think I didn't like it and I close it. I'm not sure my date's correct on this one that says the 27th. I'm guessing it is though. SFP market. So maybe I close this one and then I marketed back in here and then got out again. Because by here it's the 28th. Actually, I need the candle of the 28th is on my 27th. So I believe what happened is I'm in this one and we're over here. No, the 27th starts at, yeah, okay, because the 27th, let's look at the daily candle. This one, I'm not totally sure what happened here. but I was trying to catch longs down here with the idea to carry them up to here. But I mean, in retrospect, carrying them to here, carrying them all the way up to here would have been fucking insane. But I was really caught in the idea that we were gonna take this low and maybe this low, but we never did it. So, don't market entry, I guess, is one of the lessons here. It doesn't seem to work for me. Um, on the 27th, I think, okay, must have marketed entered right there, and it's not working, and I got out. Okay, 28th, I had also on the 27th, okay. So 28th, these are the ones that went wrong. The 28th, no, okay. 28th, I also run the gap. So on Bitcoin, on the 28th, I had to run the gap. So I took a trade like this, and I closed it in profit, which honestly is probably an error, even though I didn't, it would have stopped out. It was probably an error. So it didn't cost me anything, but I'm going to mark that as market it. I'm going to mark some errors here. Error. Error tags. Market entry. Error tags. Impulsive. Market entry. Copy this one, copy this one. They weren't full errors. This one, early exit, didn't cost me anything. But the next one cost me hugely. So to me, okay, we trade inside of this one. We have huge expansion upwards. This is our go long trigger. So I'm long here. My stop's on the inside. And then initially I'm just aiming for 17.2. Something like this. Okay. Get filled. And I just close the trade right here. So in retrospect, not only is this an error from stress and closing too early, but it's an error for having a bad target. So I think having a target up here would have been sort of crazy, but at least up to here would have made sense to do that. So I'm going to mark this as a negative 14R error, closing early. So, and that typically is the biggest error, negative 14. Stress, too early target, early exit. Felt stressed and exited. Also wasn't paying enough attention to high time frame and didn't have a good target. Okay, now moving on. Now is when I lose 10 straight in January, or 12, depending on how you count it. Like, it's just a debacle. Yeah, and here's where I was risking almost 1.75, like 1.5%, but really like 3% because I'm doing two together, which caused this drawdown to be pretty aggressive. Okay. So on the first, I had a market. This is where I short the whole rally. Um, these are actually longs. So the first, I market swing failure short. Okay, so marketing is always wrong for me. But on the first, let's move things along here. Oh, okay. Okay, I think what I did here is, let's see, did I take a whole loss here? No, I took a partial loss. But I think what I did is this is a swing failure, inside ladder short, something like this. And it's just clearly not really wanting to go down. In retrospect, this would have been, when price is doing this, this would have been a great breakout trade right here. Yeah. Okay, so that was just, yeah, I think honestly, the adding breakout trades to my system, it would have changed that whole month. And also, it's going to change the way I look at liquidity and really help me out, I think. So there's an error here. Yeah, I already logged this error, but negative 0.5, just market entering. I'm not going to market enter anymore. Okay, now I have a loss on the third, which is a short on Bitcoin. And I remember this one. It was a short in here, and this is just was just bad and too early, where I'm seeing this 1 hour fair value gap above these highs. Maybe we could take an inside short, another ladder. So the problem here is, okay, first inside rung of a ladder. I can trade that. It's a good trade. Second inside rung of a ladder. It's an okay trade. I can trade that. Maybe. Third inside rung, not a trade. Should not be a trade. This just should not have been a trade. And also, as I understand breakouts more, like there is a lot of liquidity right here. Price, it's just horrible. Like this one was okay, I think, but yeah, this is just bad. So I can mark that as an error. That was just a loss. So let's log this. This is an error. Um, Error tags. I would say strategy. I don't know if I was impatient there, but trade was third inside rung of ladder. Breakout trade. Would have been better. Okay, now ETH. Okay, my next trade wasn't until the 8th on ETH. So let's move ahead to the 8th. And I think my idea on the 8th was that I was going to short somewhere in here, which once again, like, probably a breakout trade would have worked better. Just lost immediately. There's too much liquidity. Like, three, yeah, it's trending. I don't know that this one is an error necessarily, like within my system. I think maybe the amount of liquidity, like 1, 2, 3, I should at least, but even if I had done my daily exhaustion system, it would not have worked. I think I'm okay with this loss. But we have a higher low, yeah. I would say let's mark this as an error. I would say there's a strategy error. -1. What was wrong with this was too much liquidity. If I pay attention to market structure, we should take the other high. So I shorted too early because we have here a higher low. So we should have a higher high. Okay. So also I'm on the other side of a breakout trade. This is constantly just being on the wrong side of breakout trades. Now Bitcoin on the 9th, I took a loss. Should have shut this down way earlier. Let's go ahead, skip ahead to the 9th. So, okay, on the 9th, I believe I had a short like this, which according to my system was okay. So I'm not sure this one is so bad. There's so much liquidity here. But I think once again, like if we pay attention to market structure, we have a higher high here. I should wait for the higher high to short at least. Yeah, the loss in here is, I think, a lot better. So I just should have waited. Okay, wait for a higher high. Strategy, market structure on high time frame called for a higher high. Should have waited to short and taken breakout. Okay, then I have losses on simultaneously Bitcoin and ETH together on the 11th, together on the 13th. So let's skip ahead to the 13th. Which day was the 13th? It was this day. So this one, I think, at this point, I should probably be in a trending bull market setup. So I made this mistake several times, but what I did was I used Lucky's setup, which I just don't think it's very reliable. And in my opinion, if you guys are in Lucky's group, he doesn't actually, he took a loss here too, but I think he doesn't, most of his money, in my opinion, comes from liquidity and from swing failures, and I think he would probably agree with that. And the fib retracement setup is just additional confluence. So it was calling for a short right in this level, and obviously it did not work. And I just don't like that setup anymore. So I'm gonna log those as errors. Both Bitcoin and ETH, it was the same thing, short right here, but there's no reason, there's no structure, should just wait for things to chill out a bit. Signs of exhaustion. Okay, so I'm gonna mark these as strategy. Strategy error was um, don't trade parallel channel plus fib setup again. Too unreliable. I don't like it. Okay, now on the 13th, I lost with both Bitcoin and ETH simultaneously again. It's embarrassing and painful. I mean, it is, but I'm exposed here. Okay. And during all this, I was just not really paying attention. I was just like, set my limit order and do whatever. Okay, so the 13th, now skipping ahead to the 17th. How did I lose on the 17th? No, I lost with ETH on the 17th, and then the next loss was on the 18th. So let's skip ahead to the 17th. So where are we on the 17th? 15, 16, 17. What was the loss on the 17th? Wait, is that right? 17th, inside ladder. Okay, now we're getting back to present times. So skipping ahead to the 17th. Being on the wrong side of a breakout is bad. So yeah, this was just both. These were just. It was so bad. Okay, so this trade could have been okay. It was an inside trade like this, and I was aiming up higher. In retrospect, just aiming for the high would have worked. Something like this. This isn't a trade that I can sit in though, because this is what I'm learning now. This trend line, like, there was a breakout short right here, that would have worked a lot better. Looks like I wouldn't have even hit it on Bybit anyways, so just bad. And then I also had a inside short like this, but I think this had already been tested right here, so it doesn't make sense. Like the first one entry was good, the second entry was not. So I'm gonna log this one as an error too. -1. Bad entry. Just bad trade. Now, these last two ones though, this one, I had an error here of closing early. Closing early. Um, and then with the, we already looked at these ones. I just structured the trade wrong. So like with the current trade, it would be good. I just structured it wrong. Yeah. Now, from here, we're going back to the charts for a little bit. Then I'm going to review my setups and then we're going to do back testing. And then we can consider other trades. I think it could be reasonable to try another inside long. And then if we break over, take the breakout trade higher. Something like this might be reasonable. Because again, with the inside ladder, I get the day hasn't closed, and also I get to have 3 runs. So, I mean, we could do this, and then, yeah, I think that one might still be okay. But yeah, this would have been a great, just holding it would be up a lot. But yeah, I'm not performing, so we're back to paper trading for the time being. Definitely doesn't make sense to do another inside trade with Bitcoin. I would say it does not make sense. It might make sense with ETH, but we're coming up to an inside short that I'm going to try. Wouldn't be surprised if it fails, but we will try it. I never looked at the traditional markets today. They are putting in a wick. Okay, that looks good. And then I'm going to go over review my setups now. So the risk platform. Okay, I have 4 setups. My idea is to trade every available setup in Bitcoin and ETH, which will be a lot of trades. It will be, I will probably average more than around a trade a day, hopefully, combining the both. Daily exhaustion, sweep into gap, inside ladder retracement, breakout, breakdown. So let's start with the 1 day exhaustion. Essentially, the 1 day exhaustion, we are waiting for, there was a valid entry. We're waiting for an expansive candle that takes out an old higher low. And then we are limiting beyond that candle as a reversal. Or if that candle leaves a long wick, then we can enter on the inside of the next day. So, for instance, right here, we have a daily exhaustion because we took all these, and also we could limit it over here. We took this old high, like this one's good. This day we took these and these old highs. You limit right here, short. You limit right here, short. I will take all of these on Bitcoin and ETH. Sometimes they're similar to a run into the gap where we took this gap, most of it. And I'm going to trade both at the same time with more limited risk. Okay. Now, there's one exception to it, and it's valid for 48 hours. The exception, which we're seeing an example of, is if we have an expansive candle that takes out multiple old levels and has a long wick, we can limit over the next day and treat the next day like that day, which would have worked here, at least for an entry. It's hard to say now where it would be going, but yeah. Now let us zoom out and move on. So that's the daily exhaustion. It doesn't produce very many entries, but I will take everyone that's available, and I didn't take the ones available with Bitcoin and ETH. There would have been one losing trade right here. Using the system, maybe a losing trade here, but it would have possibly caught this bottom right here. It would have helped to catch this inside ladder, I think. Possibly. Yeah. Okay, moving on. So that is the first setup. So sweep into gap. Sweep into gap is, it's similar, but I'm paying attention to these fair value gaps. And I'm saying that when there's equal highs or lows being taken, the gaps are a good place to enter. So, for instance, like this worked well as a trade, entering in that gap. And then what also worked well as a trade was this one, and then I think this one. The following day, we had a nice entry right here. Like this. So that is the run into gap. There's also a variation that's a poke the gap. It smells terrible. Smells like perfume. I hate perfume, honestly. So let's find an example of a poke the gap. So when you have an expansion and you leave a very large gap, especially if it's visible on the daily, we can expect for that to act as support the first time it's touched. So this is a poke the gap where same sort of principle applies where we want to see liquidity pooling and we're expecting a sweep of this and these, but we're expecting that we will just poke into it instead of consuming it entirely the first time. The second time, it will be probably taken the whole gap. Okay, so this is a poke the gap. And these occur more commonly with ETH than with Bitcoin. It's only when it's a large gap visible on the daily and it's the first time it's being tested. Okay, through the 5R. Now, the last setup, no, two more, inside ladder and breakout. So the inside ladder setup, yeah, keeps rallying. Such a good inside ladder. We've been looking at that a lot, but essentially, I mean, today was a good example. This price continues to push up, and it was such a good entry, but fucked it up, and that's why I'm back to paper trading. Because I don't know, something was wrong psychologically, I guess, when I exited out of this. But also my entry wasn't super good. Should have been a lot better. Inside ladder. Okay, so the inside ladder happens when there is a, well, it looks a little bit different on this chart, but when there is a large liquidation candle, like we have here, and price expands aggressively away from it, we can trade inside using far edge of a 5-minute fair value gap, ideally. So we already saw how that one worked. Let's go find a couple other examples of inside ladders. I guess the one really good short long that I didn't hold was an inside ladder. That was, I guess if there's an hourly, use the hourly. If there's a 5-minute, use the 5-minute. So it's available on the edge of the hourly. My stop needs to include this 5-minute gap. So it's a poke the gap on the 5-minute, and on the hourly was a, yeah, I mean, I guess I could have been a little bit tighter or whatever, but it was not a bad entry. Okay, so that's the inside ladder. Now, an inside ladder, first or second rung is ideal. And then if I want to add more, I could do breakout. But yeah, first inside rung is ideal. Guess here's another example. Okay, here's our liquidation candle. We can definitely long inside of that. So inside ladder, having the right stop is important. In the 5-minute, a 1% stop, something like this. There is this gap, but it makes sense to use this one. That one would have worked, which is kind of interesting. We could have aimed for this little gap right here. It would have worked. And this would have been an insane long also. So yeah, inside ladders happen all the time. Now the last setup is the breakout setup. And this is the one that I've never traded live, but I'm about to start doing. And yeah, I'm paying attention to these horizontal trend lines. But my idea is as soon as some of this liquidity is taken, like we should rocket higher, especially after this happens. So trying to figure out how exactly to structure it is interesting. I want to put it right at one of these highs and expecting price to move away violently with my stop below the trend line. Something like this would have worked great here. So those are all the setups. Yeah, price continuing to push up. My inside ladder from yesterday would be absolutely great. Possible inside ladder today. And yeah, need to continue to work. So I'm going to take a break now and we're going to come back and I'm going to do more just serious back testing. But I'm going to break for a bit. Okay, I'm back. I took a break to sit in the sun and post on Discord. I'm gonna do maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes of back testing, then I'm gonna go surf. But uh, I said, so the last 30 days, a few things have gone wrong with my trading. I've lost 14 of 18 trades. I'm gonna be talking about how I'm managing my risk and getting back on track. The truth is, while I find trading extremely interesting and challenging and love that about it, doing the activity itself is not my goal. It's a vehicle for freedom. So when I have a lot of trading success, I'm less interested in putting in the work and more interested in working on other areas of my life. The flip side is when I go into drawdown and struggle, it is very motivating for me to put in the work and get my system to the next level. So for me, losing and losing streaks are actually very important. And while uncomfortable, I don't mind them and embracing what has happened right now. After a big November and December, I didn't work very hard the past month, focusing on other things, and it really showed. I'm realizing that it's not sustainable to do the bare minimum for very long, and I always need to do the back testing to get more practice when I'm going to trade live. So I've worked on my schedule, and for now, I'm more in balance towards work. Next time my portfolio gets to all-time highs, I need to be careful not to slack too much again. I manage my risk with progressive exposure. As I win more trades, I increase my risk from 0.5% to 1 to 1.5 to 2%. Maybe I'll go to 2.5% at some point, but never made it there yet. As I lose more trades, I reduce my risk from 2% to 1.5% to 1% to 0.5%, etc. This makes the drawdown smaller and prevents blowing up. When things get really bad, I go back to paper trading and have an assignment to grow my account by 5% to 10%. That's where I am now. The past month, I made a number of trading errors. A few psychological errors cost me badly, but most of the errors were strategic. I wasn't prepared to be on the wrong side of a trending market, and my system needs updating. In terms of the work I'm doing right now, I'm working on getting my platform of setups running. The idea is to not just trade one setup like I had been doing initially, but to trade a number of setups for both Bitcoin and ETH and take every available trade with limit orders. This will increase my trade frequency quite a bit, and I will likely use less risk per trade to accommodate for that. Current setups I have now: daily exhaustion, sweep into gap, inside a ladder retracement, breakout, breakdown. I won't be trading any market order swing failure patterns. I don't want to have to respond to alerts, and most of the time I can trade an inside ladder retracement with a limit order and get a similar trade structure at my leisure. I'm also not planning on trading the parallel channel fib setup. I do see it working for Lucky and others at times, but I don't like how it has worked for me and find trading it more subjective than I like. I also don't like how it clutters up my charts. I know these setups can work, but I'm choosing not to trade them. Adding breakout breakdown is especially helpful for me because it will help balance the reversal trades and help me spot when not to take them, which is one of the bigger things that went wrong the past month. Altogether, the four setups I have give me strategies for every stage of the market: ranging, reversing, pivoting, continuing. I'm backtesting and collecting data and organizing my rules for these setups and getting ready to get the whole platform trading live after some success in paper trading. Okay. We're close to filling this in my paper trade. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a good chance this is a loss, but at the same time, it is a chance to trade an inside ladder. I think profit down here makes more sense, and I'm taking every available trade. This isn't it. There's only one high here, so I can trade this. Um, I'm choosing to enter on the 1 hour, edge of the 1 hour fair value gap. I'm paying attention to the 5 minute. The structure might be a lot better if I do something like this. So I might try to actually adjust it a little bit. Let's see how it looks in the 1 hour. Yeah. Um, I could really increase the, yeah. So let's try that. I'm going to create a limit order, log in the paper trading. need to cancel this one and everything associated with it. Now creating a limit order, risking 1%. Okay, now we're doing the back testing. We're gonna do it on Bitcoin. I'm going to choose to do this area. No, it's been a while since I've done this one. Let's do this area of the chart. Okay. So at this point, we are in a downtrend. We can expect some of these highs to be taken, and then yeah, we're looking at probably possible to long in here, but also possible to long in here under this liquidity. So, where are we now? Let's look at the daily and look for any kind of daily exhaustion trade. We could possibly daily exhaust long after this. So that's something I might try. Something like this. And then the next day we can maybe do an inside long. Our target would be into this gap. And then, okay, so those are daily exhaustion. Now, also might make sense to, I don't think I can go to 5 minute. I need to stick to 1 minute. So I'm not gonna do, like, trading an inside ladder is another idea. I don't see anything on the 1 hour for this, but presumably on the 5 minute there might be something. And I realize these can both be losses. I would risk less in these. Now, I'm interested in shorts in this area, but I want to see what price does as it comes up here. First, shorting over here would be money. I don't think we'd go there. And then, as far as breakdown, I think price is going to go straight down actually. Let's see, what is this? Notification off. No, price probably just goes straight down here. I think it does. Yeah, after we lost 52. I mean, it's possible because of this. We're supposed to take a breakout, but I'm starting where we are now. It doesn't make sense now to do so. But maybe underneath, because of where we are now, breakdown under here maybe. If we take this, and that low, and then there's shorts that would be interesting higher, but again, I want to see, yeah, like an inside ladder short as we're trending, maybe something like this. here. So, okay, here's some ideas. And this is how I'm intending to be trading now is like, okay, I have an inside ladder long, I have a daily exhaustion long, I have an inside ladder short, no, I have which is also a sweep into gap, and then I have a breakout. So let's kind of see what happens here. So I got filled on my inside ladder, of which I got a good fill, so I'm gonna go break even now on this one. This one, and I'm just aiming for this high if we can get there. Okay, so we actually had an inside ladder form, but for me, I don't see any, I don't consider it tradable because there's no gap. Yeah, okay. This is no longer valid, by the way, and it might make sense to try a breakout here. So this one, we stop out at break even. Here, I would say if we get to this one, we can try a breakout. Probably not worth it because the risk reward is just not very good. Maybe I can structure it so it might make sense. Okay, so we just go down, don't get filled. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's one high far away from something. I guess it would have been reasonable to, but I don't see any kind of nice structure to enter on. Maybe there was on a lower time frame, but I'm saying that an inside ladder would have worked here. Tracement. Let us do that. It did that. Did not fill. So where did it need to be? Like, yeah, take this high, I guess. Just, yeah, less risk per idea. Okay, so inside ladder, why? Because there's only one. Now, let's take a look at where we are now. On the daily, okay, we took a major level here. This is probably not going to happen. Oh, how did the breakout go? Breakdown. The breakdown actually worked. It retraced on us, but it, I guess, somewhat worked. Honestly, though, we should probably just aim for here. Now, we can try a couple inside trades. There's a daily exhaustion along here, which I will take over here. Long, targeting up here. I don't think we ever get there. I'm going to try it. And then I'm interested in if we ever get to 38, a breakdown here. Percent, something like this. Now, to me, it's not enough expansion to want to do an inside And there's too much ladder here to want to do an inside short as well. So we can just kind of do a tight long under here, something like this in that gap. So looking at the daily, what's going on. Guess we can try it. Yeah, -1. However, we have a +10 and a +5, so we can take those. Now, there might have been something else here where let's just move on. So I have this breakdown idea right here. Um, okay, so if we go lower, wow, that happened. That actually, did that work? No, it didn't. Didn't work because this candle triggered it and then we went up higher. In order for it to have worked, I would have needed to stop like this. So let's back up. What would that have looked like? Why does my stop need to be that wide? What's going on that it makes sense? Well, now that we have this one, we could also do it like this. Okay. Back up. Where does my stop need to be? What's the minimum? Yeah, Bill? Just needs to be here, actually. Hang on, let's look. No, here. So, yeah, I think it was better to enter at this day. And then I could have just gotten a +10 in my sleep right here. Okay, now that that has happened, on the 1 hour, we had aggressive expansion. Oh no. Fucked me. I need to go do this again. Okay, right here. Okay. That's insane though, the bounce we got. +10. It happened in a couple hours. And then we bounced. But this is too fast. So on a daily, we could consider along on the inside of the next day. So breakout. Couple ideas. So an inside long would be, I would need to look on lower time frames, but something like this might be okay. Aiming for here. I know it doesn't really end up working that well, I think. 6.5% stop is kind of wild. but it was so volatile back then, it made sense. Mm, maybe a breakout long. Also, maybe an inside short. I kind of want to see what happens. So there's some inside shorts that work. So the inside long here does work, but my entry needs to be better. I guess it dumps so hard, we could expect this to hold, at least on the first time. So we could also do something like this. I would probably only want to break out long above here, which I don't. It happens eventually. It's just something to pay attention to. Here, yeah, the inside ladder is money. Sometimes this works so well. Just take this low. It's four. This one, yeah, there need to be something on the lower time frame to allow for this. Otherwise, I see myself not getting in here. Where are we wanting to target with this? Okay, well, we're getting more compaction here. Um, I would say if we get to 42, a breakout long could make sense. We could try a sweep, like a run the gap here. This, this is probably a break even. Trades inside again. Get a proper fill. We did get a fill, and our breakout has not been triggered yet. Okay, that's just jolly. Which now I would maybe break out here. Not triggered. I would maybe break out here. And in for 53. 8R. This one is running. Not so interested in this long. Honestly, it makes sense to, I don't think this ends up working, but break down short. 27 from 31. Something like this. Um, we can keep inside laddering, but it's too late. I don't want to do like, it's too late. Okay, this breakout, I want to keep it maybe up here. But there's a couple breakout trades that might be interesting. Up, triggered me, and is a -1. It's okay. We will try again. Probably at the right at the same level. Oh, no, and -1. I guess this long was interesting here, possibly as well. It's a small little retracement long. We took some major liquidity, and it could have been reasonable to inside a ladder here. The real tight stop. Although I think like yeah, once this trend line is broken, we need to reconsider what we're looking at here. Fill here. Okay, can take a +7. This one, we're still sitting in this short. Um, Still interested in a breakout, but it has changed quite a bit. Long. Go from this one. Okay. So we also had our breakout short triggered. Which maybe I don't really like, but I put it there, so I mean it would have worked better as a long, obviously. I think, yeah, actually this just doesn't make sense. What makes sense for a break, this doesn't make sense. What makes sense for a breakdown short is right here. This first level with a stop maybe in here. Just aiming for this low probably would be fine. Let's see, does this work? Yes. It's 4.5. Yeah, the breakdowns and breakouts I'm liking. Now, after we take this level and we expand, we have a nice inside ladder retracement here. Like this. We're just aiming back to the trend line. Okay, my entry doesn't work. We enter in the middle. Still pretty good risk reward. Okay, we got our fill to the trend line. There's a +5. Now, where are we? We we go lower. We can short up here inside this trend line with these gaps here. Rallying to the trend line. The short here. Stop loss allowing for some deviation. for new lows. We get filled and not stopped. Okay. This is interesting. So here we have our -1 on this one. And the breakout is failing. Breakout fails. You can see how the breakout can be frustrating, but tried 3 times and failed. It happened though. Was this an obvious short in any way? Well, I think like after this happens, we don't really get our breakout. Inside a ladder short is reasonable here. It'll through 1 hour. Yeah. Targeting new lows. Get our fill. And we don't necessarily need new lows, but I think we do go there. There's our +12 here. Now we're looking for longs now. So this breakout long, I'm gonna trade it like this now. Came up here and try to have like a little bit of a tighter stop. We're also interested in, see how this got front run. I'm interested in an inside ladder like this. A daily exhaustion long could have worked. Might work. We'll try that too. Which would be the daily exhaustion long. We'll have a couple of different longs. Will look like this. We have a long right here. We have a long in here. And they're all aiming for the highs. So let's see what might fill. Pull back to that one fills. Stopped out and filled on this one. That one did not fill. So yeah, maybe we go lower. Not filled yet. See if we take it, what happens? We took it. Breakout. It's just breakouts not working. How many breakouts have we lost? Well, we had a couple nice breakdowns as well. Maybe we'll try. Oh, it's 11. I'm gonna break to go surf soon here. Waiting for this squeeze. It's gonna happen. Gonna happen. I think we go lower though, actually. I mean, it makes sense to just close at the trend line and then trade a breakout, I think. So we can just take our +4 here. One day. It's gonna work. Hmm. Okay, let's back up. No, this don't work perfectly, but I'm interested in a couple different ideas here. One is a breakdown short, which I think doesn't really work. And then maybe sweeping the gap along. So that happens. Okay, we're long and we're short. The short wins. But if we back up, maybe it made sense to get out of this because there's another. I think it's enough for a breakdown, but I can mark a -1 here. Now this breakout long, I'm waiting on this for a long time, right? Taking a number of losses. Something like this. Okay, we're down here. Now we're waiting for an expansion. There's expansion. So once again, longs. I think we get no pullback. Okay, we finally got our breakout long, which is going. Now I think we could also consider trying another breakout long right here. That works. Aiming for right up here. No. We're aiming for all the way up here. I'm interested in trying with each rung of the ladder. As we get closer, it probably makes less sense. See this one. I think there is, yeah, a major retracement that happens at some point. There's one. Um, yeah, that's interesting. So long in this gap, longing a poke of this gap would be interesting. I don't know if it happens, but that's something that I would be willing to try. Don't necessarily see a gap to enter on here, but after we do this, this doesn't work because we end up taking this low, but that looked like a, uh, that looked like one. So we can try another one here. And another breakout long right where we are. So we formed a new structure, right? So maybe better than the, I can have the retracement and the breakout right here. Then the last one would be here, but I don't think it's worth it because it's so close to the target. I think, yeah, we round and we trying to remember. We could try consider a breakdown that doesn't happen. So here's where a breakout is interesting. And again, one more. Yeah, I'm interested in these breakout trades. No, it's just not worth it. The risk reward's not good enough. Longing poke of this gap would have been fine. Longing the poke with the gap, aiming up here. This. We did poke it. Once we've taken this liquidity, we can start looking for shorts. But I mean, I guess we could short a breakdown too. We've been waiting patiently. We didn't even. So we didn't hit our target. However, if I'm awake and I'm watching this, I have an alert on. Really, like to avoid this situation from happening, our TP should be right at the final level, which is right here. This should be our TP. And then we could have shorts up above, which I'm not sure if it fills, like as a poke the gap. And then we can also have a breakdown trade here. So if we lose this level, we're going to go back down to here. Wow, why is it doing this? Yeah, I'm liking these breakout breakdowns. Okay, so price comes up here. Boom. It does poke the gap, it does fill us. So yeah, we got to target a poke with the gap. So we got our, have to wait a long time for this, but our plus 13, our plus 12, plus 7, plus 8. Plus 13, plus 12. And we're going to go from here back to the current charts and then call it a day. Plus 8. Now we got filled on this, and we didn't quite hit the targets that I was interested in, which is okay. It probably makes sense to put our, I don't know why this isn't working. Is this was a breakout or something? The replay is not really working. Oh yeah, this is a poke the gap, right? which is like a +4 or whatever. Now we have an inside ladder, which we can trade. We can try something like this for highs. See what happens. We get our inside ladder filled. And then really we want to be out of our shorts here. So we can just close them in this range. Say we don't get the best exit. Plus, still fine, a +5 and a +3. So this is what I need to do every single day. Okay, this inside ladder was filled. Now what? We can look at being long here. We also, I suppose, we had a couple daily exhaustion possibilities. We had this one, which would not have been a fill, but it poked the gap, would have worked. So I would have split my order up. And then we also had a I might not always trade the daily exhaustion, only if the other one doesn't fill. This one, like if I get filled on the first day, I'm not trading it. This right here, something like this is also viable if I hadn't already been filled. Oh, looks like there was another move down. I'm going to take a break though and not trade all that, but it looked like another possible breakdown short, and also maybe a might have been a couple ways to catch this. One is like we could try sort of a poke the gap here. First attempt. And this is our target, which I guess for our shorts we would have actually hit. Okay, we're filled. Are we going to get stopped? We also have possibly a daily exhaustion short here, which I don't think works exactly. Okay, and there's the move down, which, why do I have a long here? Oh, that was the daily exhaustion, which got pulled from a while ago. We could long a poke of this gap, and the middle of this gap would be an idea. Which gets stopped out, which is fine. This one's a +4. It's a -1. Now, I like the idea of a long right here. If it wants to fill, which it might not. Interesting. Does fill. And then, does it stop me out? No, I could look at breakdown and hang on. A breakout is interesting here too. We go long from just above the trend line, stop inside, and higher. We could, I don't like shorting it here again because we already did one time, right? Okay. Breakout trade works, in which case we should aim above this high probably. long a puck of this gap if it ever happens. Yeah. This could be a short area. I'm about to bounce though. So here we have a couple plus sevens. I'm not going to log everything, but I want to zoom out and kind of look at it. Say, okay. That looks good. Okay. Good backtesting session in the books. Okay. Let us have a great day if you watched it. Happy trading. Much love.